thank you, Jeanna, for being willing to talk about discomfort, because that's what we've been talking about all month so far, is stepping into discomfort. And it's not always an easy topic. It's something that we often, especially in our culture, we try to avoid. We work really hard to be comfortable, right? So our decisions that we make, the things that we choose to do or not do, oftentimes have to do with making ourselves comfortable. So it feels very counterintuitive to talk about stepping into discomfort. And yet there's really a lot of benefits to doing so. So before we get started, Jeanna, can you just share a little bit about yourself and maybe how we met and things like that?
Yeah, so my name's Jeanna, and I am a mother of three kids, and 11, 8, and 2. So there is a lot of discomfort going on every day. But we actually met because I presented the Say Something campaign at the gala in September, and Jenny was the host of the event. So that's actually where we initially met, and then I had received a 60-minute, I guess, meeting with you, or session,
Pretty cool.
whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, all right, I guess I'll give it a shot. I don't really know what this is all about, but I really liked you. And so I really wanted to find out, like more about, I guess, what a life coach did. So I've been in counseling and therapy before in my life. So I was like, well, I don't know what the difference is. I don't know if there's a difference. So I really was just very curious. And I kind of just figured, well, I guess what do I have to lose? And I'll give it a shot. And it was just an awesome experience, our first meeting. And I was telling my husband when we were done, I was like, oh my God, like I have no idea how she like got all this information out of me, that I try so hard to like not, like, I don't tell anybody, like that's
Right.
what we do, right? That's what you said. We really just try to hide our discomfort and not deal with it. And even like our very first session, like I was crying and I was like, oh my God, like how in the world did that happen? Like I have no idea, but okay, I am totally pursuing this. So that's kind of how it started.
I love that. Thank you. And I've adored you since we met too back in October. So
Yeah,
September, October, I can't
yeah.
even remember. So I'm so grateful that you have chosen to step into this. Um, so why do you think you decided, because it was pretty clear early on when we started working together that we were going to be, it wasn't going to be pleasant, right?
Right.
So what encouraged you to keep stepping into it?
Well, I kind of was at a point in my life, with the Say Something campaign where I was able to face the sexual abuse I endured when I was a kid, which I tried very hard for my entire life to just say, like, I don't feel like dealing with it. Cool, let's move on and do something different. Like, that's not fun. So I was definitely at that point where I just, um, you know, that kind of brought all that up. And then I just didn't want to keep doing the same thing over and over that I had been doing. And if things don't change, like nothing's going to change, right? It sounds so simple, but it's true, So I didn't want to continue to go through the same like emotional turmoil that I had been going through. And I also noticed that my oldest daughter, was picking up on a lot of the anxiety that I was having, and I was like, oh, wow, okay, this isn't just about me now. Like, it's really about my kids. And I actually have to deal with this and other things, and learn how to be okay being not comfortable. And in order to kind of be a better person, a better mom, a better wife.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a lot of stuff, right?
Yeah.
And it's amazing how when we don't deal with pain that's happened in the past or things that we're going through right now, how even if we try not to talk about it or cover it up or put on a pretty face, it still comes out.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. And I wasn't really making the correlation between my, I guess, lack of wanting to deal with things and process them and my depression or my anxiety. And I had finally, 2 years ago, I was like, yeah, I'm not doing antidepressants any longer. So we're just taking that off the table. So then it was okay here and there, but I just, wanted to continue to find something else. And I didn't know what, but all I knew was like something had to be different. And I was like, all right, I'm going to just keep trying things and keep trying, even though a lot of it's been completely uncomfortable, but I'm kind of getting used to the discomfort feeling. Yeah.
That's awesome. So what would you say, how would you say that you have stepped into it? I mean, starting coaching is one thing, but
Yeah.
The thing about coaching is you get out of it what you put into it. Yeah. So you can, if you're not willing to take a step into it, we could have an hour-long session and not go anywhere, or we could pretend that we are going somewhere, but really we're not hitting things. So could you maybe, whatever you feel comfortable with, share pieces that you've stepped into that have been very uncomfortable? You don't have to give details, but.
Well, I would say a big thing that has kind of been mind altering was when we talked about the mask of anger. So that, I know we talked about that a few times as far as like just the anger feeling and how it masks other feelings. And I'd really never heard that before. But then having to break each one of my anger feelings down and say, okay, really, like, what are you actually feeling? So that was pretty eye-opening, because I was like, oh, okay, I guess, yeah, there's reason for this. It's not just I'm angry and I don't understand why. So that was, I'd say, like a huge mind shift that had happened because of that, just doing that. And then, writing my story. So it was kind of like a funny process we went through, and I was like, I don't really have anything to write about. Like, I was born. I, went to school. That was cool. What else, So so then I think we were on that topic, and I didn't do anything with it for a good, like, 2 months, I think. And then I was like, all right, I guess I'll try it. All right. I give in, So, and then, like, it turned into 4 pages for 1 decade. So I was like, wow, oh, okay, that's interesting. So that was really eye-opening, just to even be able to write it out. And then, like we talked about last time, like patterns. So patterns of relationships or failed relationships, what kind of patterns. And I had never seen them until I actually wrote it all out. And I was just like, wow, like, oh my God, I wish I would have known this a long time ago. I would have stopped doing that. And so how just even like things when you can look at it and you're, like, I don't know, what did we talk about? My first devastating breakup with this, guy I was going to marry, and how that actually, shaped a lot of the relationships I had after that, and the walls that I continued to put up because of it. And it was like, what am I doing? Like, that literally happened like over 25 years ago. Like, what, why? So now it was so eye-opening. I think just like every session we've had has been like a different topic of like, oh, wow, okay. I have no idea what to say to that, but I'm sure we'll come back to it.
Right.
Yeah, so that was another thing. I'm still kind of mind blown, because I'm sure the more I write for, later decades, more I'll continue to uncover and, find out more. So it's kind of cool. It's almost like, oh, that's not me. Wait, oh, wait, it is. Just kidding. Because you're like reading a story and you're rereading it. And then kind of reflecting on like, oh, how did you feel and what did that make you do? And I'd say that was really awesome that I totally didn't expect because, I think I know everything and,
Hmm.
so,
Right.
yep.
So what you've shared now, some of the hard things that you've done, what are the benefits that you have seen in, you talked about your story and things that you've noticed in the past, and now that you're aware of those things, what have you noticed anything in your like doing life right now?
Yeah, so I know like a big thing is with my kids. So part of the reason that I decided to continue with you was because of my kids, and I just wanted to be a better mom and a better example. Like how can I teach my kids to control their anger if I can't control mine, Um, and so that was kind of a big thing. And, I was struggling with that for a while because I knew it, but I didn't know like what to do to fix it, like, so it's kind of like you're in the in between of, oh crap, this is my fault. And then what, like, so now what do I do? And I had been there for a good, few years and exhausted a lot of different things where I was like, okay, that's not working. That's not working. And so now it's like, oh, okay, like it's literally not the issue of I have to take my kid to therapy to manage their anger. Like the issue is I have to learn how to manage my anger and teach them how to then manage their anger. And so ever since that, and talking with it with my kids and saying, okay, are you really angry or are you feeling something else? And I've discovered a lot, like my son, who's 8, he feels a lot of times like his sister doesn't like him and she hates him. And, so he has these angry outbursts, but it's really, he feels like he's unloved or something else. So it's actually getting them, at a young age to identify it instead of waiting till you're, my age to figure these things out. And it's pretty awesome. And just being able to like, so the topic we're talking about now is how to accept imperfection, which is kind of a big one, and which I think that'll be a big one for my daughter too, because she has the same fear that she has to be perfect. She has to do everything perfect. And so I'm looking forward to sharing the book I'm reading with her and helping her with that as I learn it, and it's kind of like confidence building, really. Like I feel a lot better about myself just in general. I haven't had like the really like the depression because like I would go through every few months and a month of I was depressed and withdrawn and and I haven't had that because I've really been able to actually process how I feel, which kind of sounds silly, but like spend so much time trying to not feel what you feel, and then you're like, oh well, I kind of don't like Jenny today because she made me feel what I feel, but cool, we're gonna move on, like, and we're gonna still keep talking to her because she's like she knows what she's doing. So um I think that's a huge thing. And, even my husband's like, oh, you seem more happy. And, and it's kind of like like you said, we go out and you kind of sometimes can put on the mask of, oh, everything's good and everything's fine. And then you go home and, your husband or your family sees how you really feel. So it kind of meant a lot that he noticed, that he was able to say, wow, you actually look like you're happy and you're enjoying just life and enjoying the kids a little bit more. And even if it's just a little, like that's amazing. Like that's priceless to me. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
And that's the beauty about going in and lifting the mask of anger, lifting the mask of whatever we are, covering up our emotions, because you don't get to, if you're covering, you don't get to choose what you're covering. You cover all of your emotions, right? So you don't get to feel the joy when you're covering the fear or the sadness. You miss
Yeah.
out on the good as well as the bad. So the more you lift that up,
Yeah.
you get to feel the good, and you get to see the beauty and the joy in your children and your family, which
Yeah.
is really
Oh, for
powerful.
sure. And I've
And you're
noticed,
noticing.
oh yeah. And I've noticed a huge difference. And, I notice when I get uncomfortable or I'm like, oh, like every time I go to like, speak about my abuse or something, like I was on a panel event last month and I was like, nope, totally not doing it, not doing it. I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to leave. And then I was like, I forced myself to stay with it because like, I know it's okay. Like, I know it's going to be fine. And whatever happens is going to happen. And, I've just been kind of embracing when like I get that anxious feeling and my heart starts to race and, I'm like, no, I don't want to do this. This is terrible, but, so I kind of at least been able to recognize that feeling and like, okay, this will be good because you feel this, like you have to do it now. So now I just like, you have to do it if you feel that way. Like I had a difficult conversation with my boss yesterday. Like I was unhappy about something that had happened. And normally I would just ignore it and move on, and I was like, no, like I'm not ignoring it because I'm not happy. And so I had that difficult conversation, even though I was really nervous to have it, so it's just kind of been a reflection in all areas of my life, not just, at home or not just, emotionally inside. It's been kind of everywhere. And it's almost like being able to step into who I really am, which is pretty
Wow.
cool feeling, like where I'm like, oh, I wish I could do that, or I wish I could do that, or, but then I'm like, no, I'm totally going to do it. Like, forget this, And so, and that's always been like a big regret that like sometimes I get scared and so I don't do something and I'm like, man, I should have just done it. Like, and then I feel bad about myself and then I do it again, so it's like a vicious cycle. Whereas if you just like, okay, stop, you're just going to do it and you're going to suck it up for the meantime. I mean, and everything will be good. And I've done it multiple times now that like, I know it's going to be good and I know it's going to be okay. So if it's difficult, like something good must be coming out of it.
Mm. And you know what that's called?
What?
Is courage.
Oh.
When courage is not getting rid of fear, it's doing it anyway.
Okay.
And that's what you're doing every time you choose to have the hard conversation or do something that's out of your comfort zone. And you have that, like, what am I doing? I'm going to run away.
Right.
And you stop and you step into it. That's courage.
Yep.
Which is very powerful.
Yeah. And then it makes it like easier the next time. And then the next time it's a little easier. So I think every time I do it or have that difficult conversation or whatever I'm anxious about, like every time I've done it, it's been a little bit easier each time.
Right. And not necessarily because the discomfort is less. It's just that, like you said, you get used to the discomfort.
Right. Yeah. Yep.
That is awesome. Is there anything else that we've been talking about this whole month about like stepping into discomfort and self-awareness, which self-awareness in and of itself oftentimes is uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you would like to share with the Embracing Your Story group before we go?
I feel like I really want everyone to know that like when you do step into something that is uncomfortable, like it's worthwhile. So whether you're religious or not, I know you are, Jenny. So, I truly believe that if something is uncomfortable or something is difficult, that you're being held back from something great. Some things or someone's trying to hold you back. And, from something that's going to make you a better person, it's going to make your life better. So, whatever it is, feelings, addiction, whatever it is that, it's like, there's always something that you're trying to hide or not deal with or whatever, that you really should just kind of deal with it, step into it. And, Jenny knows what she's doing, that's for sure. So, so I just think that, your program's awesome. You're awesome. So, whatever anybody chooses to do, work with whoever, I just think that, everybody needs help with something. So